Rob, when you think sports talk radio in Spokane, you think of one name.
Who?
Rick Lukens.
Yeah, he's not here, so you had to
Couldn't
settle for
make
me.
it.
Oh.
Couldn't make it, so we went next best thing. The Hall of Famer. Was it 2017?
Yeah.
Inland Northwest Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Dennis Patchin, truly
Hall of Fame.
synonymous with Spokane sports. The legend Dennis Patchin has agreed to come out and hang out with us. You've been in Spokane since
84, February of 84.
From
I worked in Missoula for 2 years, but that was
the
just
Vortex got
that
you
was just
too.
a stop. I was only going to be here for 5 years.
That's
and,
how the Vortex gets you.
I got turned down for the only job I ever applied for coming out of Spokane. They offered me a different job. I said no, and as they say, the rest is history. So 36 years. My first month here, I saw John Stockton play his last 2 games in college.
John.
At Gonzaga.
Big J.
you saw the last 2
Last
games.
2 home games he played.
So you bridged the gap.
If you can call it that. But
He did.
But
He
I
really did.
was a student at Idaho State when Gonzaga was in the Big Sky.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I saw
Saw him play the
Gonzaga
Bengals.
before. In fact, I came up. My brother was a freshman at the University of Idaho, so I came up in the winter of '79, in January, February, and I saw Idaho State play at Gonzaga. That's the first time I'd ever come to Spokane. So that was '79. So I was in the was the Kennedy Pavilion at the time before it was renamed and redone at the Martin Center.
Now, I knew you came to Spokane with the intent of leaving in a few years.
5 years, yeah. I gave myself 5 years to get out of here.
How old were you then when you came?
25.
25?
I had just had my first child, and I figured it was, this was a really good place to work. There was a lot of things to cover all throughout the season. We had minor league baseball. We had senior amateur hockey. We had, Gonzaga, Washington State, Idaho, Eastern Washington. We had all kinds of things to do and cover. And, the Seahawks were having their training camp here. So this was a really good place for a sports guy to come. You figure you spend 5 years here, and then you move to Portland or Seattle or Denver or
The big boys.
Salt Lake or Minneapolis. Those are the only 5 places I ever wanted to go.
You would have gone to Minneapolis?
I would have gone to Minneapolis. I wanted to go to a market that valued sports.
Sure.
Okay. This I know this is off. What would be your top sports cities in the country, you think? You think Seattle's up there? They're passionate about their
They're passionate, but I think they're somewhat a little bit too tolerant of teams that aren't good. It's almost like I'd rather have, the debate is still on.
The
There are people,
Mariners.
there's people that would rather have Felix Hernandez back on the Mariners this season than not, and he's been awful. I mean, there were people that were happy that they brought a 105-year-old Ichiro back.
And we're
for
still
another
talking
season.
about the 96 Mariners.
Yeah,
thinking,
well,
Yeah, with Ken Griffey Jr. too.
Yeah, the 90. Yeah, it's just. Yeah, I think it's a really good sports town. I don't know if it's a great sports town, but honestly, I don't know if we have a great sports town on the West Coast because we're okay. There's so many other things to do.
True,
I think you're right.
true.
I mean, Rob, you played in LA. That's to me that's as good a sports town as
I
there
agree.
is on the West Coast. But you know what?
If you're not winning, then you're oblivious.
They just don't care.
They don't.
It's not that they're like you're in New York or Boston
There's just more things
or
to do.
Detroit. They're pounding on the table. They're flipping chairs over.
Well,
Do something.
Philly
Philly, you can be good and they're still upset.
Philly, you have for the Eagles, you have your own judge and judicial system in their own stadium.
Yeah.
It's got a jail. It's the only stadium in the country with a jail inside.
Oh, good old
Yeah.
Philly.
I'm interested. What was the other job? What was the one job you applied for?
I applied for a job. It was the weekend sports anchor at the King station at the time. It was King Broadcasting in Portland.
Oh, Portland.
In Portland, and my parents were living there. My mom and dad had moved there recently, so it was the place to go. I mean, they had Oregon State football. They had the Blazers. I mean, didn't have baseball, but they had AAA baseball. But it was a decent sports market, and they called me and asked me. So I applied for the job, went for an interview, talked to the guy. News director liked me, sports director liked me. General manager decided to give it to the number 3 guy.
three guy who was already there.
who was already there,
Yeah.
move him up into the
Yeah.
weekend sports guy, which is the terminology of the two guy, the number
Yeah.
2 guy. And they offered me the number 3 position, and I go, those are the jobs that get cut first.
Sure.
And so I said, no thanks, I'll stay where I am.
So you were how old at that point?
I think I had just turned 30.
Wise beyond your years.
So at that point, you were like, you know what? Here I am.
Not
Spokane.
necessarily, but I think every time it my wife's a school teacher, so it was a little bit harder
Bouncing
to
around.
make that progression. I knew wherever I went, I had to stay.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and I wasn't going to move just to move 3 years later to move. I wasn't chasing that
Dream.
that carrot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and man, we had a lot of things. And then things started, opening up. I got to do Gonzaga on TV. Dan Fitzgerald hired me to do the games that they were doing on TV. And then I was doing some Big Sky football. And then I did Gonzaga on radio for 4 years at the start of this whole thing. And it just kept evolving. And somewhere in the 90s, we were doing more things, going more places, covering more things than Seattle or Portland was doing.
How so?
They were cutting back on where they were going. We were going every weekend with the Cougars. We were going to the NCAA tournament with Gonzaga. If the Huskies went, they didn't go until the second weekend. You start looking around at that point in time and you go, okay, now you want to be in a place where they're actually going to support the sports department that you're working for and allow you to do things. I mean, I've gone to see a lot of things and gone to a lot of places just because of my job and because I work for a company that valued the sports department. I mean, you worked there, Jack. You
Yeah.
know.
Dennis Patchin and I were roommates. Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what?
What are his bad habits?
Jack's?
Yeah.
I don't know. I never saw him.
Final Four. We were
That's a
roommates.
bad habit right there. If you've ever a roommate and you haven't seen them, you got to get. That's when you know you have a problem.
Jack was an adult. He was working while he was enjoying his alma mater being in the Final Four, and I said,
See ya.
have at. I wasn't the boss. I wasn't in charge at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dennis's credit, I would come home in the wee hours, and I would feel like I was sneaking in to Dad's room. And of the 4 or 5, we were there 4 or 5 nights, something like that.
You guys spent that long. You spent that long with Jack?
It was Final Four, man.
It was Final Four.
I only got 2 days with him, and I'm cool, man. He needs to go back to where he's from.
I'm pretty mellow now, Rob. About old age, I'm just doesn't
Father
nothing.
time has just gotten.
I used to be
got
the
your claws
excitable
in you.
boy. Not anymore.
I will say this. I did have a dream about you last night.
Okay.
I had a dream about you last
There we
night, and I hadn't had a dream about you. I hadn't had a dream about you in weeks,
Weeks.
Dennis.
Thanks.
Weeks. I don't even remember. We were driving, and you had to do a radio hit, so we had to pull over, and I went and got a coffee or something. But then here we are. And you know what? You're a dream come true. You truly are.
You are in his dreams.
Back to the mid-'80s. Can you tell me a little bit about... So you're 30 at... What is that, 90?
No,
Something like
so it'll be in 80. So I turned, maybe I was closer to, no, I think I was still 30 at the time. So I had 30, 31. So that was the 80, 88, the 88, 89.
So Stockton leaves right when you show up.
He's in 84,
Yep.
and his
Right.
last
Yep.
games are,
Did they make the tournament?
no, never did.
Really?
He never made the tournament.
Not
didn't
even
realize
close. He never
Get
played.
some, John.
He never played in the WCC
Tournament?
champion. No, I don't think there was there.
Well,
he
there-
didn't play-
not then.
No, he did not play. He was never even in a position to play to go to the tournament.
What?
Well, you got to remember, the first tournament team wasn't until the late 80s. Or no, excuse me,
95?
It was 92, wasn't it? Or 95?
Yeah,
95.
But
95
I'm
they
saying
Salt
not
Lake City,
even
they got
be-
blown out by Maryland.
It's what's crazy to me is how they found him
Well, they-
throughout all not winning the tournament or going to the tournament.
Well, you know where he made his hay is George Raveling was part of the selection committee on the U.S. Olympic team in '84, which was all college guys.
Oh, okay.
They invited him to the Olympic trials, and he and Terry Porter, and I've talked to both of those guys because Terry used to live across the street from my parents when he first became a Trailblazer. Those are the two guys that got cut last. They were the two last cuts off the '84 Olympic team. They kept Leon Wood, who's an NBA official,
Yeah.
over John and Terry.
Leon.
They kept Steve Alford over John and Terry. And they've told me that they drove him to the airport in a van, and those guys are crying on the way to the airport because they both got cut, the last cuts from the Olympic team. He burst on the scene. Now, he was the West Coast Conference Player of the Year, so, I mean, he was on people's radars.
Okay.
He played in the Final Four All-Star game that they had at the time and played well. George Raveling got him on that Olympic team, and that's kind of on the tryouts, and that's where he made his name, and that's why he got taken. We thought the Sonics were going to take him.
I could see that.
They needed a point guard, and we thought, and the Utah got him.
35 years later, you're still
Here. Kicking.
You still
Kicking strong.
a beacon of Spokane sports. You are Spokane sports.
Well, if you think about it, I spanned 3 generations
Yeah.
of high school player,
High school hoops.
athletics. So I mean, I'm sure that at some point, if I actually dug deep enough, I'm sure that I covered a dad or a mom who had a kid, dad or a mom who's now had a kid, a dad or mom.
What about step back Bobby Jack? Did you?
Bobby Jack Sumner, I was not here when he was doing his thing. He's late 70s. I know all about him. I've talked to a lot of people. I've seen him play.
Jack, we need to get him
Bobby
on.
Jack?
Step back Bobby Jack.
I've seen him when he was in his prime playing at the YMCA. Lucas used to play pickup basketball with all of those guys.
This dude we
And
need on the podcast.
Rick Lukens played basketball?
Lucas was a guy when he got to town. He had ball in hand, shoes and shorts and bag. He was popping into 3 or 4 places in the noon hour.
Trying to get a run?
Just trying to play.
I never put that together.
What?
Good
Really?
for Rick.
No, we need step back Bobby Jack on this bad because I've heard he's the best player to ever come out of Spokane or play as a high school player out of Spokane.
We got to make it happen. He's our
We do.
great white horse.
He is.
I don't even know where he is anymore.
I know. I met him.
I think he's around.
He
Is
comes
he?
to one Zag game a year.
Yeah.
He comes to at least one Zag. He's in town.
Now I will tell you, one of the great offensive players.
That's what I've
ever.
heard.
That chair you're sitting in, he had no interest in guarding that chair.
Yeah, the best scores all feel
Neither do
that
I.
way.
Neither do I.
Yeah. Who wants to play? I said before I went to Japan, I was all about being a team guy, play defense, do my part. When I got to Japan, that's what got me here. You know, I don't even look on playing defense anymore. Forget that.
So you've witnessed firsthand the rise of Gonzaga basketball over the last 2 decades, especially.
Yeah.
Now,
My second radio broadcast for Gonzaga was Dan Fitzgerald's last game in the tournament when they got beat in the first round, knocked out.
95.
No, that would have been 97.
7?
And then 97, 98 was my first full year doing Gonzaga games. That was Dan Munson's first year. And I did the 2 years that Dan did it. So I did the 99 team and then the 2 years after that.
Obviously, there's a lot of love here in Spokane for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And I talked to Rob about this several episodes ago. One of the fascinating things, one of the things I love, are the people who live in Spokane who despise Gonzaga basketball.
Oh, there's a few of those.
There's a large number.
And they love your show, I feel like. I feel like they call in.
Are you
all the
saying
time.
he's the ringleader?
No. I'm not,
Is that-
obviously, Dennis is invested with the Gonzaga Bulldogs. It's part of their history.
Okay.
My point is, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I think a lot of those people are associated with Washington State.
Okay.
And it's, let's be honest with you. I mean, the Cougars had a short run when Tony Bennett was here. But let's be honest, they've just really been a non-factor for most of the years.
What is it about? Why? Is it just so hard to get people to come to the Palouse?
No. Well, I mean, why they've been bad in basketball?
Yeah,
they haven't
they're
had the right.
trash.
They haven't had the right coaches.
Well, Ken Bone, I didn't.
No.
You weren't a Ken
No.
Bone fan?
Nope.
Man, Ken Bone almost had me go to UW. So
Really?
I almost went to. If he didn't go and leave to
go to Portland State.
I was a huge advocate for Ken Bone.
They had. I mean, you can make a case. They've had 3 coaches.
Bennett,
George Raveling got him to the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Kelvin Sampson got him to the tournament.
Yep.
And then left right after, and then Tony Bennett.
Yeah,
And Kevin Eastman, and Kevin from his days in the NBA, and Ken Bone and Ernie Kent. Those guys had success at other places. They weren't able to figure it out.
Recruit.
There is no doubt about that, Rob. It is really hard to recruit there. And all of those guys, certainly Kelvin and Tony, recruited a different athlete. They played a different game. It was defensive oriented. It was more low scoring, and those guys had success. The guys who have tried to go in there and do what everybody else is doing, you can't compete with them, and that's been a problem.
I feel like 99, 2000, 2001, it was like, hey, what a great story. They've made the second weekend 3 straight years. At what point did Gonzaga take the step above Washington State as the region's premier program? There had to be like a 2-year stretch, right? Because they were making runs, but they were still a WCC team. The Pac-12 was down the road. UCLA was coming up.
Here's to me when it changed. So you had that group, those 5 seniors, Fromm, Santangelo, Axel Dench, Mike Nielsen, Ryan Floyd, and then you had Casey Calvary, Mark Spink in the next class. Mm-hmm. Okay, and those guys. Jeremy Eaton was in the first year, and Quentin Hall. But after the first 2 tournament runs, the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8 and then the Sweet 16, all those guys were gone. And that was the point where everybody's going to go, okay, step back. That was fun.
Yeah, right.
We're going to go back. Well, then Dan Dickow steps in. Then Blake Stepp is there. The last year of Calvary, the last year of Spink. Okay, now all of a sudden they're doing it with a different group of guys, and it's like,
boom,
hold on. And there were a couple years in there. If they hadn't won the WCC tournament, they don't go.
Yeah, 2000.
Yeah.
2000, they had to beat Pepperdine at the championship game, and if they didn't do that, and then obviously they went on to go to the second weekend again. But we were talking about if you don't win that game, because they had lost the regular season championship to Pepperdine, they win the WCC, barely get into the tournament, win 3, and so. But if you have that break, you're just a flash in the pan.
Well, and don't forget they had to beat Loyola Marymount, I think, and Matt hit a shot at the horn just to get out of the first round.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
And three games in 3 nights?
And honestly, they should have went to the tournament in 98. They're the top seed, and they play the 5 seed San Francisco, and San Francisco has the best game they've had in 3 years, and Gonzaga gets beat. And
luck of the draw, man.
It's crazy how that all worked.
Let's take 99, 2005, 09, your team. 2013, the Wichita State team. 2015, 2017. Toss them in a tournament. Who wins?
Oh, my team. What are you talking
2009?
about?
Yeah.
Get out of here with that. That's just how I feel. But go ahead.
The Wichita State team was a little flawed, but I really thought
I love the Wichita State team.
That was the number 1 overall, right?
Yeah,
they were number 1 going in the first time that team had ever been number 1 in the country. They were the number 1 seed, and Wichita State had the game of a decade. More 3-pointers in that game than they hit in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The team with Adam and JP.
That
06, sorry.
The team that got beat by UCLA.
Yeah.
That team should have been the first Final Four team.
I agree.
And the meltdown was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
That team was probably the Blake team with Dan as a junior, Blake was a freshman, Calvary was a senior, was a really good team. And they got to the Sweet 16, and that's the team that got crushed on the glass by Michigan State. And that's one of the seminal games in Gonzaga's history where Mark made the decision, okay, we have to do this better. And after that, he said, we've got to rebound the basketball. better. The other team that people talk a lot about was the team that had Roney and
JP
and Corey, and the team that got beat in Salt Lake City by Reno, or got beat in Seattle by Nevada.
Yeah. Was Nick Fazekas on that team?
Fazekas was on that team.
Man.
That was a young Fazekas.
It was a very young
Fazekas is still killing.
Yeah.
Got a little limp.
Yeah.
He walks with a little bit of a limp.
That team may have had more firepower than any other team. But
you think those teams are in a class of the last 4 or 5 years
No.
that we've had?
No.
That's what I mean. It's
it's a different
It's apples and
time.
oranges.
It's a different time.
That 09 team was stacked. Heupfeld, Pargo, Micah Downs, Austin Day, Stephen Gray.
Is that the team that got beat by North Carolina
Yes,
by the
yes.
national championship team?
one of the best teams in college
And
basketball history.
we're sitting in the stands. I'm watching the game because we're covering the tournament, sitting in the stands, and they're down 11 at the half. And they're playing well.
No, it was.
They're down 11. And we got a Syracuse fan and an Oklahoma fan sitting behind us. They leaned over and goes, "You guys are playing great. This is the best. This is the second best game I've seen in the tournament of anybody in the half." He goes, "The problem is you're playing the team who just played the best half."
Yeah, right.
No, Ty Lawson was making shots. I just remember in the scout, we had Ty not being able to shoot, and I think he ended up making like 4 threes that game, 5 threes that game. Who else did they have? Danny Green.
Yeah.
Ed Davis.
Scott May was on that team? He
No,
wasn't on
Sean
there?
May. It was
Scott May. There, I dated myself right there. 76 Indiana.
It was,
Sean May would have been the 04
he
team,
was
05
Adams'
team.
era because him
Okay.
and Adam were drafted on the same Charlotte team. It was Hansborough, Ed Davis, Danny Green, Wayne Ellington, and Ty Lawson.
Ellington.
Wayne
Yeah.
Ellington, and then Tyler Zeller was coming off the bench as well. Yeah, they were right there. I just named 5 NBA,
Yeah.
6 NBA guys right
The
there.
other team that was good was the team that lost to Duke in Houston
Yeah.
in the Elite Eight game with
2015.
Pargo and Bell.
Pangos and Bell.
Pangos
and
and
Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Pangos. Sorry, Pangos.
Pango,
Yes.
stay with us now.
Yeah. I'm getting old here,
Yeah.
Rob. It's too many Zag teams.
Pangos, Bell, that was Wilcher's first year playing as a transfer.
And who was the grad transfer or the senior transfer?
Byron
that got-
Wesley.
Wesley.
Yeah, Wesley. That's the first one of those guys that Mark went out and
Yeah.
got.
Yeah.
And kind of
Well, Byron Wesley was the guy at USC.
Yes, he was.
Byron Wesley was getting 22, 23 points a game, came here, was mature enough to buy in, get
Yeah.
8 points a game, and it made all the difference in the world.
because he wanted to go to the
And
tournament.
now we get one of the Jordan Matthews. Yeah. Yeah.
The guy in the last few years that I loved to watch play was Sabonis.
Oh, well, who doesn't? He's he's still great to watch now.
Yeah.
He's putting up crazy numbers in the NBA, averaging I think 13 rebounds a game.
Might lead the league. Might win the rebounding title.
Yeah,
He was fun to watch.
I think he might, out of Gonzaga, he might be the best player to ever come out.
better
might
than
be.
Stockton.
You might.
Well, Stockton.
Well,
Or are you talking about this run from '99?
this run.
The modern era.
I agree with you. Now,
modern era.
Zach Collins may have something to say about it when
Yeah,
it's all
but
said
stay
and done.
healthy.
Yeah.
He can stay healthy, but I don't know. He doesn't have the same motor, in my opinion.
Okay.
I just don't think he has the same motor. Sabonis is fiery all the time.
Well, he's the little brother. He had 2
Yeah.
older brothers who beat the heck out of
Oh,
him when he was a
really?
kid. Yes.
I thought my youngest son was going to be a failure. Now I have optimism.
yeah, you should.
Yes, I have optimism.
I mean, let's be honest. Going into this year, I think everyone thought maybe this is a 4 or 5 seed. Maybe we'll drop a couple games in the WCC. Maybe we're in the 15 to 25 range. Maybe even drop unranked.
Well, when
Did
when you lose 2 number 1 picks,
Sure, that's what I'm saying. And then you've got
another guy who's with an NBA team and the all-time leading assist guy on your team, your 5th-year senior point guard. Yes, they're going to take a step back.
But they did,
No.
surprisingly.
I have a hard time wrapping my mind around that. Because I do remember thinking in 2013 when we lose to Wichita State, had a very, very sad night, thinking that was our chance to make a Final Four and win the national championship. And those moments are fleeting, and maybe we get another run. There's, 7 years down the road. There's been 4 chances since when we've been knocking on the door, if not knocked down the door.
Right.
What do you test that to? Just the guys?
I think it's the culture. I think
Tommy
it's,
Lloyd?
I think it's
Tommy Lloyd's passport?
that doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Tommy Lloyd's cell phone.
Yeah.
I'd love to know the cell phone bill for that. I don't want to pay it. I just love to know it. I'm just saying, under Mark, they've done everything right. And if there's been a problem about how they're playing or what they're doing, they've addressed it. It gets taken care of. And the other great thing is, and Rob can talk about this more than anybody, when you get recruited into this program, there's a sense of, okay, you got to buy in, but you got to wait your time before it's your team. Okay?
For sure, and I think I would agree with you on that, but I would also say, because my class with Austin and Steve was, I think, the first class where freshmen really got to play.
Yeah.
Those guys got to play, Austin got to play right off the bat, and deservingly so. He was
He when he came to this program, Rob, he's the best player Gonzaga had ever recruited
by a
at
mile.
that point in time.
Yes, he was the best recruit we ever had gotten.
He's the first guy that we said he's not going to be here for 4 years.
Correct. And we all knew that too.
Yeah.
And I think he knew that coming in, but I think that was the kind of the turning point of, okay, we're getting talent. We can't. Whoever plays, and I agree, guys need to wait their time around here, but at the same time, we've gotten to that new point, especially if you look at this team. Phillips is a second-year guy. Tilly's our real guy, but at the same time, he's been here. He could have left last year if he didn't get hurt. I don't know. It's a new era for sure.
But it's also the buy-in.
Oh, you have to buy in.
There's something when guys come into this program, and I don't know how they do it because they've seemed to do it with almost everybody. I mean, occasionally there's a few guys that do, but they buy into being a Zag.
Yeah.
And that's important. It's also important, you don't want to be the team that doesn't make it.
Well, there's an unspoken pressure that you have.
Yeah.
And you have to, you do not want to be that, like you said, you do not want to be that team that does not.
Derek, I've talked a long time to Derek Rivio and Sean Mallon.
That year
About
yes.
the pressure that they felt, knowing when they went to the West Coast Conference tournament, if they didn't get it, they were the group that the streak was going to end
In Portland.
And there was immense pressure on those guys.
Yeah, but like I always say, pressures make diamonds all the time, man. So
sometimes the pressure cracks people too.
Well, we don't get those type of guys here.
That's part of the deal on why Gonzaga has been able to keep this going, because to get the right guys who learn from the guys before them who keep teaching it.
Right.
So there's the willingness to learn from the older guys, but there's the willingness to teach the younger guys when it's your responsibility
because
to do that.
do not. And absolutely. There is a pressure where you're like, man, we got to be in this tournament at the end of the year. We have. There is no such thing as NIT. There is no such thing as that tournament, and that's all you focus on. We're getting into this tournament, and then we can see where we can go from there.
The first team that doesn't make it, and it's going to eventually happen.
It has to happen.
Okay, it's going to happen. The first team that doesn't make it is never going to get invited back for anything. They're never going to get to play on Sundays. They're not. Those guys are going to be. You guys are over in the other gym.
No, they're going to be made fun of for
especially the seniors.
Oof, you do not want to be a senior.
Nope.
I didn't even think about it, but you definitely,
So, I mean, you look at a blue blood program like North Carolina, and it's inconceivable that they've fallen on their face like they have this year. I mean, obviously, bitten by the injury bug a little bit. My point is, North Carolina's, the Dukes, the Kentuckys of the world have embraced the one-and-done culture unlike any other program, right? we're on the cusp of doing that.
Well, we've had a one and done.
We're about to have
We're about
maybe
to have
three.
at least a couple next year.
My concern, obviously, is you're talking about the culture, and you're talking about guys staying. You're talking about guys buying in,
Well, I think
waiting for their chance to run the show. This is going to rock the boat, hopefully in a good way, but it's going to rock the boat one way or another.
But you still have guys on the team. You're still going to have guys that are going to be there for 3 or 4 years.
We're not going to be like a Duke or Kentucky who are now they have to get one and done. Otherwise, they can't fill the roster up.
Well, look at what's happened in North Carolina this year.
Right.
Okay? They've had injuries, but their freshmen that they've had to lean on, the ones that have stayed healthy have not impacted that team, and that's going to happen with teams. I mean, the Duke team that didn't make the tournament a few years ago,
right.
It happens to programs either because guys get hurt or guys just aren't what you thought they were going to be.
It's not high school, man.
No, it's not.
And it's
it's not
longer.
AAU where
Right.
if things don't go well, I just leave and go to another team.
Correct. Well, now
I'm talking in the middle of the season.
No,
Right?
I hear you, but guys now in my feel is I remember being recruited and the whole stigma of this is the most important decision of your life.
Right.
Now it isn't.
Yeah.
I feel like guys can
The
go
transfer culture?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere. You can oh, this is not and I think guys now it's harder for them to deal with adversity than for sure when I was playing, but before that, guys, you were stuck.
Right, but that's the culture of kids in high school. He plays on 4 different AAU teams. He
Right.
plays for 4 different high schools. He goes somewhere as a freshman, doesn't work, transfers to a JC, plays there for a year, goes somewhere else, plays there for a
coaches
year,
are playing me.
red shirt, and then he graduates as senior transfer. He's played for 4 college teams because
Right.
the coach is screwing me.
And eventually he gets 4 different agents because those agents
Yeah.
weren't representing him right.
No.
And then 4 different teams that he's played with in 4 years.
I think Gonzaga does it as well as anybody in the current landscape of where college basketball is. I mean, a guy like Corey Kispert is so valuable to this program because he's the conduit, even if you've
Correct.
got the one and done.
Correct.
I agree, but my point is we're shifting towards that other direction. We're
You have
trending
to,
more
but I think you
towards-
have to, though.
We are, but I think that we're coming to that end. We're coming to an end where the NBA is going to figure out
Correct.
if you go to college, they're either going to use the baseball model where you
Which
stay 3
I like
years
that.
or stay 2 years, or you go straight to professional. And there's the G League. If guys really want to play, send them to the G League if they don't want to go to college.
Go to New Zealand.
Guys are going to Europe.
Yep.
And every time somebody has success doing that, more high school seniors are going to use that avenue.
A lot's changed since you got here, Dennis Patchin, 35 years ago. A lot's changed out here at Northern Quest. What was Northern Quest in 1984? 1985? 1984.
The plains.
Rock pile.
rock pile.
It's just an area that you looked at as you were driving out to the drag track. Because the jail wasn't.
How often are you
wasn't
driving
here.
out to the drag track?
Well, we used to go out and cover stories out there all the time. The circle track out here.
Love that. Are you a spa guy, Dennis?
Not really. Do you think I'm a spa guy, Jack?
No,
Yeah.
but you surprise me all the time with stuff.
No, I'm not. I'm not a spa guy. Not-
So
No, like little massages.
you don't want to be pampered in the upscale La Rive Spa, one of only Dennis.
La
One of only
Rive, the La Rive spa.
La Rive. Is it La Rive?
Yeah, La Rive.
La Rive. La Rive. One of Dennis. One of only 3 Forbes Travel Guide 4-star rated spas in Washington State.
I
You
hear
didn't know that?
I hear it's unbelievable. I hear it's unbelievable. But look at me.
What are you doing tonight?
Look at me. I'm a steak guy.
You're a state guy. I wanted to get that out of the way because I'm going to ask a tough question.
Okay.
Obviously, the sports world, the world in general, pop culture, has been rocked in the last 48 hours. And we're recording this Tuesday, the 28th of January. Now, before I ask the obvious question, what's the toughest regional sports story you had to cover in which you walked into the studio that Monday or Tuesday, whatever the next workday was, and you thought, I don't know if I can do this. I don't want to do this.
The hardest stories for me have always been the death of a young athlete. We had a kid a few years ago playing football for Valley Christian High School that suffered a catastrophic head injury in a game and passed away. We were at that game. He scored a touchdown in that game. We, as we always do, we leave to go to another game, and he passes away.
Ooh.
I think the impact that had on the community as a whole, not just the school that he was going to, but the community as a whole, was big. In the last couple of years, we've had 2 football players from West Valley High School who have been signed to scholarships to play at the University of Idaho, and one did play his freshman year redshirted. The other one didn't make it, lost their battles with cancer within the span of 3 years. The death of an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old is the hardest thing for me to cover. And I think it's even more harder because I'm a parent now. And I think the horror story of a parent is to lose a child, however it might be. Car accident. I mean, if your child's out and they're 16, 17, 18, they're at college and the phone rings at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Panic.
Absolute terror. Absolute terror. Those are the hardest. And I've had 3 of those that I can remember off the top of my head. And it's just, those are hard stories because you have to go out there and talk about them.
Tyler Helinski comes to mind.
That was hard too. The thing with Tyler is I didn't know Tyler. The other 3 young men I knew. Tyler was at Washington State, and the way Mike Leach ran his program, you didn't get very close to guys. You didn't get to talk to them one-on-one. Yeah. Had he been any other quarterback under any other coach, yeah, probably. And I think Tyler's is different because the questions go unanswered.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely.
We're always going to have the question about him why. Okay. A kid gets killed playing football. A kid that dies of cancer. We don't have the why question. We have the it's not fair, it's tragic, it's
Correct.
awful.
Correct.
But there isn't the why. Or there isn't the could we have done something
Different.
to prevent this from happening?
Yeah.
If you get cancer, I'm not a doctor. You guys aren't doctors. There isn't anything we could do. They were diagnosed with cancer. A football injury, dying, getting hit in the helmet, a freak injury, that happens.
Car accident.
When somebody takes their own life, there's a sense of emptiness because you just don't know why. And because you don't know why, you almost feel like there's something you could have done.
Correct.
Always. That's human
For sure.
nature.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I'm just a guy covering sports. Imagine what his teammates felt like. How did they not know? I mean, they will go to their graves when they're 85 years old thinking, how did I not see this? I should have been able to do something about that. Because that's human nature. That's what we do. We always say, I need to fix this.
And you just feel like you said, you want to be there. You're like, why couldn't you just talk to me? You know what I mean? We could have just talked this out and we could have figured something out. If the pressure was too much, why couldn't we could have just talked that out. I just feel sometimes that whole suicide thing and it's becoming a real epidemic in this country. People don't talk about that, but it's just such a question mark, and people feel guilty, and you leave people feeling guilty with that mindset of what could I have done, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, because you almost feel like there was something I could have done if I'd have known. We just had another player, a kid who was a redshirt freshman at Eastern Washington, first year in college, went home for the Christmas break, football player, he committed suicide. So even though that it's out there and we know that there's places and help that you can get, some young people, doesn't mean if they're athletes or not, feel their only way is out is to completely go out, and they're going through that at Eastern Washington right now.
Well, I feel, yeah. And the athletes now are under way more scrutiny, and they are always under a magnifying glass. So now with social media and everything, you can't hide.
No, you can't.
So if you have a bad game, you can get in a real fun. I had to delete my apps off my phone when I was in the. People are savages.
Mm-hmm.
They will say the most outrageous stuff to you just because they want you to just sign something or say something back to you. So you can't. But
it just makes them feel better. It makes them feel proud.
Well, yeah, everybody, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but they don't have that human connection. They don't feel like you're human. They just see you on a TV,
Yeah, right.
so they just
You're not
picture,
real.
You're not
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
You know what you are, Rob? You're a video game
Correct.
to them, and,
Correct.
and I can do all that in the video game, and that's a sad thing, because I always tell people, and I knock on wood as I hit my head. I never say anything on social media, on my platforms, or anything in my shows that I wouldn't actually say to your face.
I agree.
If I was talking to you, and I think if we had more of that.
Oh, it's the worst when you've seen somebody and they talk crazy to you,
Yeah.
and then you see them on the street, and then they're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
good to see you, bud."
Yeah,
You're
you gonna
like,
sign something for me?
Yeah,
here?
you're like, "All right, go kiss my ass, bud. Go get out of here."
Yeah. It's not just sports. It's our society. The civility is completely whacked.
And as players, you just want to. If you had a bad game, you've had a bad. You don't need 1,000 people telling you've had a bad game. You're well aware. You're leaving that gym or field or whatever, saying, "I suck today." Well, let me just get this out. But you're constantly reminded. So at that same time, guys are feeling that pressure all the time, and I couldn't play college basketball now with the way social media is and everything like that. I know I could. It's just
it's got a lot of positives. I mean,
For sure.
I think we've seen a lot of positives.
It gives branding.
You see something where someone goes out of their way, something very small to help someone, and it makes everyone's day. You feel
Right.
good about it.
For
but
sure.
then it obviously goes the other direction.
Yeah,
even
with
more
every
so.
good, there's a bad. You got to look at it like that. But
It's a way for fans to actually interact with their
Correct.
favorite athlete. Just some of that interaction is not great.
Probably most of it.
I would probably guess it is.
yeah, I would say.
I guess we just think about the negative stuff so much, maybe.
well, the
Because
negative.
if you get 100 compliments, you're going to think about the one negative.
Well,
thing you hear.
that's
Yeah.
human nature. You're
Correct.
going to look at the one negative thing and be like, why doesn't someone like
Yeah,
me?
right.
When there's 100 people that like you,
Right.
you just kind of have to tune it out. But at the same time, some guys can't. They're addicted to social media, so you're always reminded.
I promise this is going to get
Yeah, I hope this
positive.
gets a little more
This is
cheerful.
going to get
Jeez.
positive.
God.
We have a very special edition of Buy or Sell.
Oh.
Northern Quest. You ever heard of Buy or Sell?
No,
Dennis?
I've never done. I'm
little
always
game.
interested to play.
It's a little game. Developed it. It's good for radio.
Good for you.
You get to throw out a bunch of.
Can we steal it?
Yeah, you
Can we use
Development.
it tomorrow?
You developed this. This is great.
The Northern Quest Buy or Sell edition of our starting five. But I think we'd be remiss, and Rob and I are going to chat about it a little bit to lead off the episode. But where were you when you heard the Kobe news on Sunday?
I was sitting in an airplane in Burbank, California.
You were in Burbank.
I was in Burbank.
Last
getting
place
ready,
you want to be on
getting
is a
ready,
plane.
getting ready to fly home, and some guy in front of me, as we're taxiing, so you're supposed to have your phone, and,
Yeah.
and he turns to the guy 2 seats in front of him and said, "Kobe, I just saw a story. Kobe got killed in a plane crash."
Boom.
or a helicopter
Yeah.
crash. And so now you know that,
And you're trying to find information.
and you've got like 3 minutes to see whatever you can find
Before
you're out of
Dark
touch for 2.5 hours.
That's anxiety in a big way.
So it was
Yeah, it was crazy.
You felt helpless,
It's surreal.
but nobody knew until we got to Seattle the impact of all of what else had happened.
Yeah, right.
And my biggest problem, as a guy who's been in the journalism business since I was 19 years old, there were so many wrong reports, so much wrong information that it's almost I'm ashamed of my business because we've sacrificed being right for being first, and it's a real dilemma that I've had with journalists that are my age, but younger journalists who are okay. Let's just get it on, and we'll fix the mistakes later. And I didn't grow up in that world, and I was not taught that way. And that's my personal dilemma with the business that I work in.
I'm a pretty easygoing guy. I've never been angry at something like that. But when I believe it was CNN, they cut into the Pro Bowl coverage on ABC, and the guy was just VOing B-roll of the crash in Calabasas, just not on camera, just kind of reading off the cuff is what I mean. And that's the guy who mentioned, just got on scene. I heard one, maybe several of his daughters. I think he used the word
I
several.
heard several
and
immediately.
I've never been angry at something like that before.
Yeah.
Because I'm a forgiving guy. I was angry at him, at the whole situation. That was
Do you know why you were
unconscionable.
angry though? Because you've been in that. You've been standing in
Right.
that place. I mean, you may not have covered a celebrity
Right.
death, but you've been standing in this place as a news reporter. You've done that guy's job, and you know you wouldn't have done what he just did, and that's why you were angry.
I think so, because there is a lot of pressure. You're told, hey, you got to talk for 90 seconds. There's certain things that you know as a reporter when you show up on the scene. They
Trigger
say,
words.
Hey, and someone like a cop off the record will be like, yes, for sure, we know of 3 dead 13-year-olds. You just can't say that.
No.
Gotcha.
You just can't say that. You just
No.
got to sit on that. And so for him to just all casually say one, maybe several of his daughters is. Then Sunday was really tough for me because I got angry there, and obviously I'm sitting next to a guy who was his friend and teammate. So
Yeah.
what I felt pales in comparison to Rob's experience, but I gave up being angry, and then I was just sad
Well, and it's
for the whole day.
I'm probably because I was I was in a void for 2.5 hours. So by the time I got to where I could get the information, there was a much more information
And your phone,
out
I'm
there.
sure, was crazy.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't able to see all the reports that were wrong. I would have lost
you would have been
my
angry.
mind.
Yeah, I'm sure
I
you
would have
would
been really upset.
If I was angry, you would have been
Yeah.
very angry.
Yeah. To me, the story on Sunday was Kobe was killed in
Correct.
a helicopter crash. Unfortunately, we didn't have to talk about the other people because you know that some of those people, family members, didn't know.
Right.
Oh,
That the plane had crashed.
Don't quote me on it. I don't believe Vanessa knew until
No, TMZ reported it first. Yeah.
TMZ. And that's the sick thing is, could you imagine that's the first thing you pick up is TMZ report, and now you're guessing. You're constantly guessing, wondering, blah 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 blah. Is he dead? Is he alive? I'm trying to get a hold of him. Why?
Right.
And the thing that was hard about TMZ was none of us take them as reliable sources. They find all the stuff out, but you couldn't take TMZ serious because you're like, Adam Sandler died 5 years ago with you guys. Come
Right.
on, this is not real. So you had to really wait until CNN or some big broadcasting network had to put it out there, and then it was like that's when it was impactful.
There was a guy for KABC, I think their weekend sports guy, that when I went back and looked, he had a lot of the information early, and it was almost all correct. But he also didn't give you a lot of information that he didn't know. And here's my other problem in my business. We got to stop saying sources. Okay, we need to say
Who?
Well, we don't necessarily
You know
say who. A police officer told me. An NBA official told me.
That makes sense.
We need you protect your sources, but we need to define sources.
Yeah,
a little bit better in how we present things as far as big stories are concerned.
Gotcha.
I mean, this is all on the surface level when we're talking about the reporting and how it came out. We haven't gotten into the impact of Kobe and what that loss means and how it's different for everybody. But as you mentioned, Rob, you were getting into it. The biggest cardinal rule of journalism that was broken is publishing before next of kin notification. That's just being a human being.
I saw a guy at our place get fired for that.
That's a fireable offense
Because
that's a
he released
threatening offense.
Yes, he released the names of people who died in a plane crash before that they were released. I mean, it's like a lot of times they'll say, "Hey, here's the names, but we haven't. People trust
Right.
you. We're not releasing this, but here's the names, and when we release it, then you'll know you can go with it." And the guy went with it. He got fired. I mean, that's the severity of that. And
Should get fired.
Yeah, but most places don't operate that
Right.
way anymore.
Right. Sunday night, when you're thinking you got to talk for 3 hours, what's going through your head?
Here's my thing is, we work on a station where we have ESPN most of the day. Okay, they're going to have everybody and everybody and everybody. So we have to figure a way to make it, because I don't know how many people who are listening to us ever saw Kobe play live.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I never saw him play live.
Oh, really?
Nope. Rick Lukens, who did the show, never saw him play
Really?
live.
What?
Well,
You didn't go to a Portland game? Damn.
no,
Yeah,
we were working, Rob. We were covering
Bush League over
Gonzaga.
here. This is Bush League.
I saw him play probably 3-4 times.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean it was enough.
but you lived in a
saw the
city.
Mamba, though.
I
where
You
he
got to
was.
see the Mamba.
Despised Kobe.
Oh, most people did.
Despised
He
Kobe.
played for the Lakers, and he was really good. That's a really easy guy when he was a player to hate.
It's interesting though, Dennis, because
Yeah, I could see that.
I hate to take this in a different direction, but growing up in the Bay Area, Kobe was the ultimate villain. The worst, right? The
Oh,
worst,
sure.
the worst,
Because
the
you
worst.
guys
He was pompous.
sucked.
Ate Kobe, fro Kobe.
Warriors.
Fro Kobe
Fro-
was the worst.
He was the man.
It wasn't until, and hear me out on this, it wasn't until he went through the sexual assault allegation when he wasn't on McDonald's commercials all of a sudden. He went from being America's Kobe to...
Well, that's where the Mamba came from.
Right. And it was at that point, and I guess I was maturing a little bit. At that point, I was probably like a junior, senior in high school. And then when he came back to win the second 2 championships, I was so on board because he had it all, lost it all in terms of the court of public opinion.
Right.
And he didn't care.
That's what made him great.
He did what was right with his family. He got that sorted out, and on the court, he channeled it all. And if that's not a shining example of how to pick yourself up when you're down to kids, I don't know what is. If that's not, hey, it's the bad times never last, pick it up, go back to work, I don't know what is. So his roller coaster of a career is so meaningful to me. I can't imagine the stuff he went through, the stuff he heard on the court every day when he was going to meet, when he had the...
Not even
had the
that.
show.
That was his life on the line. It wasn't
right.
His life was
Right.
on the line. He was looking at 25 to life. So it was bigger than just, I got to beat this. I lose some Wheaties and all that. I lose some Sprite commercials
Sprite,
and all
yeah.
that. That's fine. I might be going to jail for the rest of my life. And that's where he was having to fight through that. And people don't realize his mindset then was, I'm going to shut the whole world out. And I'm just going to focus on what I need to do and how I can be the best at my craft. And that's all he cut out everybody, all the yes men, all those people. And he just focused on being the best. And that's, I think, really what drove him even more.
See, How old are you, Jack?
31.
Okay, so we talked about this on our show the other day. There's a window where you're a Kobe guy.
Yeah, I think
And
like
that's
25 to 40.
I'm gonna say 25 to maybe 33, because if you're
You're a little older, then you're a
35,
Jordan guy.
Yeah, you're a Jordan guy. There's
I see what you're
there's
saying.
the
I see what you're
Jordan
saying.
guys. There's the Kobe guys,
And there's the
Now
LeBron.
there's the LeBron.
I'm
guys.
Correct.
I'm a belt tie fastball Kobe guy.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And those are the people that were driving social media.
Yeah,
and,
no, you're right.
And if you look at the age group now, the guys in the NBA,
Oh,
the stars, the superstars, for the most part,
Yeah.
are
Are
all Kobe guys in that window.
Harden, Westbrook,
Right.
Steph,
All of
Clay.
those guys.
Yeah.
All of those guys were teenagers, preteens when Kobe was doing what he was doing.
they
winning
were
a
just getting
championship.
born. That's all they knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, it was funny. We were laughing. Julius Randle, maybe it's
Yeah.
Julius. No, I'm just trying to think. Julius Randle or D'Angelo. They were just born when Kobe got into the league.
Yeah.
So
That's nuts.
so all you think about is, I'm coming into the league. This is all I've known for. This is all I know for basketball.
Well, when
And then I'm
when those
playing.
guys are 10 or 11, the best player in the game is Kobe.
Correct.
So if you're a basketball player and you
right.
want to play at the highest level,
Right.
you're going to pattern yourself after. But it was more than just basketball guys. It was baseball guys. It was football guys who were in that same
Right.
age group, because the first thing you normally play as a kid
Hoops.
by yourself is basketball.
Right.
You can't play baseball. You can't play football by yourself. You can play basketball by yourself. Who's the best basketball player when I'm 9, 8, 9, 10? Kobe. I want to be Kobe. That's where
Well,
we got
the
all
whole
of that.
like, even if you shoot like a crumpled up piece of paper into a trash
Yeah.
can, you're screaming Kobe. You know, like-
My son is 33 years old.
yeah.
I remember when he was 10 or 11. We had a hoop. Maybe he was even younger than that. In downstairs, one of the
Yeah.
Fisher Price things. He'd sit on the couch, shoot, and every time he made it, he'd go Kobe. He's in that window
Yeah, right.
of those guys.
Yeah.
No, it's just a crazy dynamic to think about, like how much of an impact. I don't think, and I heard this earlier today, there has not been someone this large other than Princess Diane, maybe.
Yeah, Diana's a good one.
You know-
I was struggling to come up with a comparison, but that's a good one.
I got one for you. When John Lennon got shot.
See, that's
past my past.
I can't
ain't
relate.
gonna lie.
Yeah, I
I
understand.
can't relate to
Right.
that, homie.
But
Yeah.
that's, I mean, I'm 60, almost 2.
Right.
So, and we were trying to put into perspective,
Yeah.
and it was, it's Newt Rockney dying in a plane
Roberto
crash.
Clemente.
Roberto Clemente. But
But the way
they weren't as big. They still weren't as
no
big
one was
as Kobe was.
No, and globally,
Right, because
globally.
Kobe was in that time in the NBA where
It went global.
It went global.
yeah, China.
we had China. I can remember this like it was yesterday. We got off the plane, and it was packed at the airport, just packed full of Chinese people screaming "Kobe, Kobe, Kobe."
You were playing an exhibition game over
Yeah,
there?
exhibition game, and they're just going. I've seen 40, 50-year-old men crying just because they got to see this man. And then
Dennis Patchin never got to see him.
I know what a. How can you have not seen
How
it?
can you-
one Laker game?
How do you call yourself a sports guy?
Yeah, you could have gone to Portland, Seattle.
We were working, Rob. I had kids.
Weren't you working basketball?
I went and saw
Oh.
Jordan. I saw Jordan. Well,
See, that's crazy. This guy was in the league for 20 years.
No.
And you didn't
I only saw him like 3 or 4 times.
I saw.
That's still
I
more
saw.
than he
I
had.
saw Jordan because we covered the NBA Finals when the Sonics played him. We didn't do a lot of NBA
That's
stuff.
true. I give you that. I'll give you that. You got a little bias. Give you a little. Pass.
I'm not biased. I'm just saying it wasn't.
I'll give
it
you
wasn't
a little,
as
you,
accessible.
You have a pass today. You have a
Plus,
pass.
you've driven to Seattle in the wintertime. Who
It's
wants to
terrible.
drive over
No
the
shot.
pass?
It's like driving on the moon.
I will say, what is it? Nadia Comaneci?
Yeah.
2016, Kobe's played his last game.
Yep.
A game that you're all over on the B-roll on ESPN
I've
everywhere.
seen that now.
2016 Olympic Games in Rio. It's the coverage of women's gymnastics. They have a shot of Nadia Comaneci in a box checking out, and Kobe's standing right next to her. Kobe Bryant. 2016 was the dawn of the era in this country where we all decided, I'm team red, you're team blue, and if you don't align with me politically, we don't talk. There's Kobe at American Treasure sitting with a Russian, and it was cool. Nobody cared.
Because-
He transcends that.
Yeah.
He can do that.
Well,
imagine
because-
if that was LeBron.
Well,
People-
everyone, no, you can't compare it because the thing about him was everyone wanted his mindset in their sport.
no, I get that. And that
so-
was bigger than are you
Right.
team red or team blue?
Right. For
But here's and Rob can correct me if I'm wrong. Kobe really didn't care what you thought about it.
no, that was the best part. So
Okay.
That's what's so endearing about
LeBron cares what you think
I
about
well,
it.
and
LeBron wouldn't be up in a box with a Russian.
but I'm just saying
But
this is what
because
made-
he's
Yeah, I
thinking
hear
that
it.
people
right.
yeah.
Well, I actually said this yesterday in a little meeting I had. One of the biggest things I've ever learned from Kobe, and like you said, Kobe didn't care.
No.
But he told me this, and it's kind of funny. He said, "You know who your real friends are because they'll tell you have a booger in your nose. The ones who don't tell you have a booger in your nose are going to let you walk around looking stupid and being all dumb. But the ones who really care will have that awkward moment and say, hey, you look dumb right now. You get that booger out your nose. And you might have that awkward moment at that moment in that time. But he's not going to let you look dumb and not going to let you be out there looking like a fool. So you know that person cares. So that was the thing. He wouldn't talk to people if he didn't care. But he would talk to certain people a certain way because he knew how he could affect you. But it was because he cared and wanted to get the best out of you. And that's where he would say whatever he needed to say to get the best out of you. And it's because he cared.
I remember when Roney took him to a Zags game in Pepperdine.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
That was awesome.
What a big deal.
You saw Mo.
That was.
You saw Adam.
Yeah.
That was Adam's crazy year.
Yeah. And you know, that was a big deal in Spokane that Kobe was sitting
No.
in the gym at Pepperdine watching the Zags play.
And it's just what he did in the last few years in terms of embracing women's basketball, like flying to Kashmir
Yeah.
to watch Haley Von Liff.
Yeah.
Like his last Instagram story was of Sabrina Ionescu,
Yeah.
an Oregon women's basketball player. NBA players don't do that. NBA players don't endorse and
No, but you know who does do that? Dads
Fathers, yeah.
whose daughters
Yeah.
care about basketball.
Right.
And he had the wherewithal to be able to open the doors that most of us don't open, and he embraced that. And the Kobe that we're going to miss from now until he would have turned 60 is
Was
the,
a different-
is the dad who's embracing all of those things and would have been a huge proponent
Oh my God.
of all of those things.
Correct.
That's the guy I'm really going to miss.
For sure. And the Oscar Kobe.
Yes.
The guy who was
Yeah.
trying to develop more than just basketball.
Correct.
He was,
That's-
that he was on that level. He was trying to do bigger and better things.
Mark talked about the Final Four the night before they played South Carolina, and he popped in. He
Yeah.
gave him the Kobe shoes,
Yeah.
and what a moment that was. We had Kelly Graves, the old Gonzaga coach, is now at Oregon, talk about Sabrina Ionescu and her relationship with Kobe and what he had meant to not only to her but the program, but also because of his daughter, what he meant to women's basketball. And when you start to add those things up, I mean, Kobe's NBA is done over. It's in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
It's there. It is. Here you go. It's what the next 20 years would have been. That is why we should be upset the fact that he's not here anymore.
And
Because you know what? He may have had a greater impact
in the
in
second
those
act.
20
The second
years
act. I agree.
sure.
than he did in his first
For
20
sure.
years.
I agree.
And Jack and I have talked about this. You never see athletes die so young. Len Bias, I remember as one player, but you usually see athletes dragging their feet at the end, still just barely holding on to whatever
Well,
body.
when we're ready to say goodbye, when it's like it's not,
like at the end of their lives. Right. But you've never seen an athlete pretty much still in his prime pass away. And for a lot of people, we put athletes the closest thing to superheroes. And so it's like seeing a superhero die. It's the closest thing to a super. Athletes are the closest things to super. They do superhuman things that no one else can do. And for him, that was like seeing a superhero pass away.
Well, look at him. I mean, he tore up his Achilles. He stayed at the
back.
free throws, hit the free throws, came back and did all of those things. He was indestructible. So
Right.
when somebody tells you he's no longer with us, you're going, no.
Right.
No. That doesn't happen. It's like
Right.
Kobe. He's not. No.
No.
Yeah.
And his mindset was like that too. He could do. His mindset was like, hey, just throw the ball to the rim. You're like, where? And just throw it up. And I'll go. That was his mindset. Just throw it to the rim. I'll go get it. It don't matter how high it is. I'll go get it. And he embodied that whole mindset of there's nothing too big for me to handle. I can do anything. And it's hard to, not a lot of people can take that on. But his whole mindset was, you know what? You can throw anything at me. I can handle it.
Was he a good teammate?
I had no problems. Don't get me wrong. He was hard to
Yeah.
play with sometimes.
Because the
but
stories I've heard is if you didn't bust your hump every day at everything you were doing, he could have a problem with you.
Oh, for sure. But I had him at the end of his career, and he was just struggling to just stay healthy for most of his time, just trying to keep his body right for each game, because he was still playing 40 minutes. When before that Achilles, people don't realize he was averaging 46 minutes a game before that Achilles. We had to win 17. I think we had to win 13 out of the 17 games to make the playoffs. And with that stretch, he played, it was something crazy, like 44 minutes a game, 45, 46 minutes a game. And some games he didn't even come out. I remember Jody Meeks tried to sub him, or no. He was playing. Jody was playing, and the team was coming back. And Cole was like, man, I'm tired of this. Just gets up. Hey, Jody, you're out. Yo, Jody, you're out. Go sit. Jody's like, what is going on? He's like, nah. No offense, but you're out. I got to play. And he just took over that game, and that's just the mindset. Like, I need to do this. I need to take care of this. And he was just something. He was something superhuman. It's hard to describe. When he walked into a room, he would change this whole dynamic of how this room would be. If he had walked into this casino, this whole casino would go in upright. That was the craziest part. Anywhere he went, people just stopped. The world just stopped and just saw Kobe Bryant.
The world stopped Sunday. Should we have some fun?
Please.
Sure.
Should we end on a laugh?
Debbie
we end on a hearty
Downer
laugh.
over here.
I'm just having a good time just hanging out, talking with you guys.
And
This is fun.
It is. We talk sports, man.
It's a school night, though, Dennis. We got to get you home at some point, right?
No, I'm good.
good.
You're a movie guy.
Sleep.
You're a movie guy.
No,
aren't you?
Lucas is the movie guy.
You never do the movie theater out here?
Oh, yeah.
M&D movie and dinner restaurant?
Yeah, I've been out here a couple times with my wife.
I did it. I saw Star Wars here last time I was up.
Look
I went
at
with my
you.
buddy Bo and saw Star
Look at
Wars.
you.
What a dream. I don't think people realize how cool it is.
It's pretty cool.
Come out, drop $50 total, dinner and movie.
Yeah.
And
The cool thing is you can eat while you're watching the movie.
And they have it figured out. So I get people's reservations are, I guess, they don't want to see the waitresses walking around
Right.
through the movie. They have it set up where they're not going to start the movie until everyone has their order.
Yeah.
And then they'll sneak in and give you stuff. I mean, you can still order during a movie.
You don't want to be that guy.
But they're not going to, right.
You don't want to be that guy. Oh, excuse me, I'm sitting in the middle.
You ever take the grandkids out to the kid spot?
We have not done that. That's on our list this year.
Cyber Quests, interactive arcade.
I'm not an arcade guy, so I'm sure my grandson will just whoop me. I'm not. Rob, I'm an old guy. I'm a pinball guy. Pinball was
No, what is that? Ping? What was it?
the
Pong?
first Pong. I was in
See,
college.
He gets excited about
Pong, I
Pong.
was
Fired up
in
about
college.
Pong. Fire in his eyes.
Yeah.
The first video game that I ever remember I was in. Actually, I was married. Was in television. And that's dating me. It's a game called Intellivision. It was before Atari. And my wife would beat me at everything, so I never got into video
No
games.
Tetris?
Tetris, it was, I had a small Tetris
see?
machine,
There
and I
you
took
go.
that on the airplane when I was doing Gonzaga games. That was my
There you go.
time killer.
Buy or sell, presented by Northern Quest. This is taking place of our usual starting five. I'll ask both of you. Buy or sell.
Okay.
Again, Dennis, this is a game I put together. I think it's
Makes
going to
me
work
so
for radio.
nervous.
We're stealing it.
Okay.
He buys a lot of weird stuff, just to
Does he? Okay. We're stealing. We're going to use it on our show tomorrow. It's a great
weird
idea, Jack.
things,
Thanks for the
man.
idea.
Buy or sell Dennis Patchin and Rob Sacre. Mark Few coaches 8 more years. He's 57 years old.
So,
He's out in 8 years.
I think is there a championship involved?
That's all
See,
I'm
it's
giving
buy
you.
or sell. It's how you interpret the question. Oh, sorry to steal your
Yeah, listen.
idea.
Take it and run with it, brother.
I had this discussion with him about 15 years ago. And he told me then he was not going to be one of those guys that coached forever. I thought he would be done by the time he was 60. I really thought
He's
would
not
be
there
done.
yet. He's not 60.
I think that would make
He's-
sense with everything he kind of stands for. Quality of
I
life.
think he
Yeah,
might go
yeah.
a little longer because I'm not sure he thought this job was going to be what it is
No.
when he was
Oh,
there.
there. Who did?
No,
Nobody.
I agree.
I say buy
8 more years. 8?
unless he wins a championship. And if he wins a title, now, if they were to win a title this year, he's not quitting with
No,
that
no, no.
group of guys. But there could be a natural progression
For sure.
once he turns 60 that he might walk away. But I think if there's no title, he might go to 65. He's not going
would be
past
8 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he's going past 65.
Okay. Looks like I nailed it with 8, huh?
That was a weird
That's
number.
that's actually a really good number because I think anything more than that people would have sold.
Yeah.
Buy or sell a non-refundable West Regional ticket to Staples Center. Second weekend of the tournament.
Buy. I'm buying that.
Non-refundable.
You mean an airline ticket from here?
But everything. Book your
Buy.
weekend. Buy.
I'm buy. Especially we get the home Spokane Arena, right?
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
I think that's all, Rob.
That's
I think
a
that's a done deal.
Second
They'd
weekend?
have to lose 6 games not to get a
Oh, to
top
not-
4
right.
seed. So I think we're beyond that, and they're not losing here in Spokane.
Woo, I'm glad you said that.
Non-refund-
Now
we're
we
going
got to figure
Staples
those
Center.
tickets out, guys.
Buy-
Sags, figure it out.
Buy or sell Dan Dickow's looks, Rob Sacre's personality.
Damn.
You got to buy one, sell the other.
I'm buying my looks and my personality. I don't know what's wrong with you.
I don't know about that, Rob.
Must be
Dan, honestly, when Dan played here, was the reminder for me to get a haircut.
hippie.
When Dan got a haircut, I would get a haircut.
What was your last reminder?
I haven't seen Dan. I actually sat next to him on a plane, but I'm not on TV anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Your salad is banging, by the way.
Gosh, Dan's hair is great.
Oh, you get the whole package with Dan.
I know,
Looks, you get
but
the-
I'm one of the most fun guys, and not just because he's sitting here to cover, to ask questions. Was this man across the table? I'm taking Rob Sacre right here.
Okay.
His personality.
Okay.
Woo! Because with his last 2 years, and there used to be media sessions every week, something we don't have at Gonzaga
Yeah,
anymore.
right.
We would talk to Rob Sacre every week.
You get something. You get 20 seconds of something.
They'd
doesn't
get me in
matter.
a towel. That's what they'd get me in.
You would just
Not-
demand
not-
to be in
not me.
Oh, then get me in a
Not
good
me.
old towel.
Not me.
Speaking of towels, have you been to the spa here? Moving on.
I have
No,
not, but
no,
I heard
but-
it's unbelievable.
He loves the showers, so
The showers are incredible. You want to pop in for old time's sake
Man.
with me?
The showers in the rooms?
Yes.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't
Forget
want to
about
get
it.
out.
You know, they gave me 2 bathrobes, brother.
what is up with these showers?
You need they got 2 heads.
2 heads.
And I actually,
Two-headed monster.
the first time I had it, I actually called the plumber and see if he could redo my shower to put the second.
It's that powerful.
a game changer.
It is, but it didn't work.
You walk in and it's like NASA computer in there. You're pressing
there's
buttons
and everything.
then finally I found a button that said all heads.
Yeah.
Boom. Blast off.
I'm going to tell you, if I ever have a new house, build a new house, I will have what they
Jack
have
has been
here.
talking about these damn showers for
Buddy,
all day.
But you know what?
He's like, "Hey, come on into the shower with me."
I haven't. Okay. Yeah. No. I think I did invite him.
Yeah, I'm not going that
Yeah,
far.
exactly.
Have another Coors Light.
I'm good.
See,
This is great. We can
liquor
actually-
them up.
No,
get
no.
them all.
No, this is great.
That's
I've
how Jack
never
works.
done radio where I can
that's
actually
a typical,
drink. This is
That's a
great.
typical Jack date. Here, have some more.
Okay.
Yo.
Buy or sell. Buy or sell. Buy or sell. Brought to you by Northern Quest. Derek Ravio was the greatest pure shooter in Zag history.
Ooh, no.
No,
Sell.
he's the greatest free throw shooter ever.
I'd buy that.
Yeah.
I love Derek. Not to say you don't.
Pangos.
Pure shooter.
Pure
I think
shooter.
Pango's a better player. I think
Guys, Adam was pretty good.
Yeah, a pure shooter though. I would say Kevin, but player, I would say Rav.
Oh, really? I go the other
Because
direction.
Ravio had that, like I told you, he has that sauce with him. He had a little bit of
He had a little attitude.
played like a brother.
Yeah, he had
He
a
played
little
like a brother.
attitude.
Yeah.
All right, these were submitted by.
And I will tell you, his dad could play too.
Really?
Yeah, I saw his dad play.
Well, now what school did he play at?
Portland.
He did play at Portland,
Yeah.
right?
and then spent
all
those years over in Europe. He could play.
Interesting segue. This is a question developed by Tom Rohr, big Dennis Patchin fan.
Okay.
Buy or sell? Anton Watson had a better high school career than Adam Morrison.
I don't know.
No.
Selling.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Buy or-
sell that because Adam. See, I don't know if Anton was the best player in the state last year. I thought Adam was the best player in the state.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Sean Mallon was higher, was the better player at the time.
Ferris won that
higher
year.
up.
Ferris won that year. I remember.
No, they
Yeah, Ferris beat. I remember that was the
Ferris
thing.
lost. Okay, I'm trying to remember. Mallon's junior year, I think they got beat.
But Mallon has a championship.
I think he got it his senior year. And then Adam came the next year and lost in the state championship game
Franklin.
to Franklin,
Now,
who
was on
had
that
Tony.
What's that, Tom?
Aaron Brooks.
Aaron Brooks.
And Aaron Brooks got
Oregon.
the state player of the year, and I was there for the entire tournament. Adam had a way better tournament. And then there's the story about Adam playing the Oregon-Washington All-Star game, and Adam's not getting the ball,
Yeah.
and he goes in the halftime, and he starts going crazy. Give me the blanking ball. He got like 28 points in the second half, led Washington back to the win.
What a
That is-
conversation starter that was. Good job, Tom Rohr.
That's a great question.
Buy or sell? John Stockton, better NBA career than Klay Thompson?
No.
I guess when it's all said and done.
Klay Thompson might go as one of the best shooters of all time.
John Stockton's the all-time leader in assists,
And
he's the
steals.
all-time steals.
Correct.
Klay Thompson's not going to lead anything
Who would you rather have on your team?
right now.
I guess it's a tough question.
No,
This is a great question that I don't think there is any right answer.
I would say Klay Thompson. I'm going with Klay Thompson, and
I'm going with John.
I would say Klay Thompson for the fact that he's, man, you could stick him on any team and he'd be, because when he was at that Washington, he was the only man on Washington State, and he still was putting up 20 every night. So I could see him anywhere in the NBA. Now, John, granted, I'm not discrediting any of what he's done because he's had an impact on the game that no one could ever imagine. But he was in the right place. Sometimes you get drafted in the right place at the right time. And I think he was
No doubt.
I think he got the right place at the right time and was with the mailman who always delivered.
Buy or sell? Indian Canyon, better course than Qualchan?
I'm buying that for two reasons. One, it's a more historic course.
Okay.
There's more history on it. I love Indian Canyon. Two, Qualchan is a little bit too long for me.
Okay.
So I don't like playing Qualshan. I love playing Indian Canyon.
Gotta
Even if you got to walk it. Ooh, that's for me anymore. That's a tough walk.
The views on 1 and 10 Indian Canyon you can't beat.
Oh,
Top notch, world class.
if that was open land now, there's no chance there'd be a golf course
Yeah,
there.
right.
It would be homes, and they would develop that for that view.
Oh, really?
Buy or sell. This is the first year Washington State basketball wins a Pac-12 tournament game in Las
I'm
Vegas.
buying that.
You're in.
I'm buying that.
This
They're
is the
that
year.
good.
I'm buying that.
They're gonna win a game.
I think they depending on who they get matched up with, I
Right.
think they beat somebody this year.
Well, they're beating each other up all in that
Correct.
that conference.
Correct. It's kill or be kill. Yeah, it's awful.
Did you know this, Rob? The Pac-12 tournament's been in Vegas for like 7-8 years now.
Right after.
Washington-
Oh no, it hasn't been there that long. It was in LA before that.
At Staples Center.
They
It
haven't,
was
they haven't gone there until
6 years.
No, they
it was
haven't.
at MGM for a while. And then
Oh, it
went to
was.
T-Mobile.
That's right. I forgot about that.
It was at MGM for like 2-3 years.
The Pac.
They've never won a game in Vegas.
Well, they don't.
They've never won a game in the tournament because the tournament was also
Wait, did they not win it?
no in
Staples Center?
the 80s. No. Oh no. They haven't won
They
a
had to
term
have-
since Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
Tony
yeah,
Bennett
right,
was the
right,
last
right,
coach
right.
to win a game.
Right.
But
this is the year, baby.
the thing is that made me sick about the Pac-12. They would go into that tournament, get iPads, iPods, Xboxes.
Oh, yeah.
All these like the state of the art, whatever was cool that came out that year.
What'd you get at the Orleans?
Squadouche.
A blanket.
But you know what you got,
Blanket
Rob?
that my dog is playing on
But you
right
know
now.
But you know what you got? You got a trip to the NCAA tournament.
Every year, brother.
Talk to him.
Buy or sell Hawaiian shirt at a wedding in July.
Oh, come. He's buying that all day, every day.
I got to know more.
I know, but that's unfortunately.
I'm going to sell if you're going to
You're
just
gonna
give me
sell?
that. If you're going to
All right,
give
all
me
right,
that.
All right.
Now, if it's at okay, if it's a relative,
It's a relative.
I'm not. No, no.
Okay.
You have
Unless
some
I'm
respect.
instructed.
You have some
You're-
respect.
My brother got married on the beach in Southern California. We were instructed to wear Hawaiian shirts. I had one.
And
July-
you've worn that shirt every day since.
I got 50 Hawaiian shirts. Just relax.
July-
that was the only one.
July outdoor wedding, you're a fringe guest. Fringe guy.
As long as it's not it's an outdoor wedding, not at a church location. Yeah, then I might do it.
Okay.
But I got to wear like a Tommy Bahama. I'm not wearing a cheap
yeah.
one.
Oh, you
the
have
Rolls
standards.
Royce
Yeah.
of Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah.
Okay, same scenario.
Okay.
October.
No chance.
Selling.
100%
What's the
of the
cutoff?
time.
September.
It's the temperature. Yeah, it might be like white for women. Might be Labor Day.
Okay, that's when you put the Hawaiian shirts away.
I don't put them away. I just don't wear them to
to
weddings.
weddings. Good for you. I thought that was going to be a hard yes.
No. There's something about weddings
Yeah.
that it's like I'd rather be the overdressed guy than the underdressed guy. Nobody rips the overdressed guy.
No.
No, they
Err
do
on
not.
the side of
Err on the
overdressed.
side of.
I'm trying to talk to my coworker about that. Foxy Coxy, try to get a tie on him at games, but hey,
You go tie sometimes.
nah, sometimes
Over here and there.
you can bring a horse to water,
See,
but you can't make him
I'm not
drink, I
big on
guess.
ties because I had to wear a tie every day for 33 years. Now it wasn't on very long, but it was on.
Corporate life.
No, it's TV.
Oh,
Now guys on TV don't wear ties. What the heck?
Too cool, man. Don't even shave every day.
Yeah, and
It's
have you
double.
noticed that?
Yeah.
I can't.
Got
take
out too
that.
soon.
I can't
oh, is
take
that getting?
You would have shaved every
You're
day.
becoming
Yeah.
that guy now. Get
Yeah.
off my yard.
No, there's certain standards that I think you need to have, and I don't like the. You want to grow a beard? Great, knock yourself out.
But the
3 day,
stubble?
a 3 day. It's like, okay, you got out of bed too late to shave today. Is that
Figure
what
it
your deal
out.
is? Yeah.
Figure it out.
Speaking of standards, buy or sell, final one, Jack or Rob as a roommate. Mind you, we have history.
You don't want
Jack-
me as a roommate.
I'm going to. Here's the only. I've already bought you once, so I'm selling you here. I got to buy Jack because I know what I'm in for.
yeah, I was gonna
okay?
say.
Yeah.
That's
I
fair.
had experience, and Jack was the perfect roommate because he was never there. Okay,
That is very.
Bingo.
That is-
you. I don't think I would have a problem with you,
Oh.
but I got. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are you a bit of a hurricane in your room? Are you a little?
I'm more than a hurricane,
Okay,
my friend.
Okay.
Whoa! Wait a minute.
Clothes
You realize
all
what you
over
just
the
asked him?
place.
More than a
Okay,
hurricane.
okay.
Not a snore. Not a snore. Because you know what? That's why I bring
Okay.
earplugs for everybody. Okay. I'm just saying, if you're a guy that stuff is all over the place.
Oh, no. I'll clean up after myself.
Oh, okay.
But I'm a hurricane.
Okay.
I didn't think I was going to win that.
Why? He's been with you.
I
been with
took
you.
the known over the unknown.
You gotta
That's
have
what
the
you
known.
know.
You don't have the unknown.
Now, I've not spent as much time with him,
Right.
so that the conversation, I would have
develop.
like a million questions for him.
Yeah.
You and I have worked together for 2 years. I don't really think I've got many more questions.
Simple Jack is all you got,
He's
man.
got me figured out.
Simple
Well,
Jack.
it's like a marriage, you know?
Hey,
Right.
if it was that bad, I wouldn't have shown up to do this tonight, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Dennis
Simple.
Patchin, ladies and gentlemen. Dennis, have you ever heard of Vincero watches?
No, I have not.
Vincero watches was developed by my good friends, Gonzaga alums. Gonzaga alums? Gonzaga alumni? Gonzaga alums. Anyway, they went to
Alums.
Gonzaga.
I always call them alums.
Alums.
Yeah.
Graduated my age, my year, 2010. Good guys, based in San Diego.
Wow.
Why don't you take a gander over here, Dennis?
Which one do you think he's going to pick?
I
Hold on.
know which one he's going to pick.
Okay.
So
What do you think?
anything that's
Ooh.
on the table here?
Anything that's on the table. There's 3 left here. Vincero watches. While you're looking into it, yeah, peruse, man. Take a look at
Yeah.
it. I can also tell you which one.
Take a little test ride.
After,
that
after you pick it.
doesn't bother me.
After you pick it.
Take a little test ride. How do you feel? Does it feel good?
15%
Is that
off
what it
your
feels?
entire
Oh,
order.
it's-
See, this is why I need to spend some more time with you.
15% off
I
your
will
entire
rock
order.
your world.
Oh, he's a hurricane. And free shipping. We are offering
Don't
15%
promise
off
something
the
you
entire
can't
order.
deliver, pal.
Go to VinceroWatches.com/nation. VinceroWatches.com/nation. You can tell when someone's wearing a cheap watch. Can you not?
Yes, I can.
Yes. These don't look like cheap watches, do they?
No, they do not.
Because they're not. These are butts.
Take that bad boy for a test ride. That
You can
black
get,
one.
Get 15% off right now with the promo code NATION. Woo-wee.
I was looking at the bands. I just
Take a look at the bands. I'm going to tell the people
Look
that
at
they've
the
got
bands, man.
20,000 5-star reviews. 20,000 5-star
Oh,
reviews.
these are really nice looking. I mean,
That-
That is a Bentley.
they're probably more nice looking than for a guy who wears Levi's and Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's October wedding stuff.
No, this is for a Lutheran guy. This is
Church?
full church
Sunday?
wedding. This is if you're a Catholic guy. This is full mass wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Vincero. Check the inside. I wonder if you got one. So they engraved half of them with a little "Go Zags" on the inside. I honestly, because you picked.
Jack's been throwing this out.
You
I don't
picked-
know if any of the watches have go at all.
No, but you
fine.
got their slogan, Veni Vidi Vici. They developed that. Veni
They sound like Italian guys.
Veni Vidi Vici. No, they're from the West Side.
Then
Some Portland guys too.
That's cool. Thank you so much.
Yes, they're Zags. They love the Zags. They love the Dennis Patchin show. Patchin
Appreciate
Lukens.
Correct. You can call it Dennis Patchin show. I'm okay with that. Lukens isn't here.
Yeah, get him out.
No, we've been doing this show. We've been doing the show together on the air for 30 years. We did the first 5 years. We did it in the sports office
Right.
or anywhere else we were
Well,
driving.
Jack, this is what we're looking at in the future. This is us in the future.
Yeah, it is.
Neither of
It
us
is.
are going to have that hair.
No, absolutely not. I might look like Mr. Jefferson. I might grow mine out from the side, but I ain't gonna.
When's the last time you let your hair grow?
See, it don't go maybe a week.
And it starts to drive you crazy.
Yeah,
Do you look older when you grow it out?
Oh, yeah.
I look like I need a cardboard box, and I'm on the corner begging for money. Okay?
See, that's me when I go full beard. Which, which is concerning
I
for
get
me.
concerned if I have a beard. I'm not going to get on a plane. They
Yeah,
won't let
right.
me on
Oh,
planes.
that
Yeah,
direction. Okay.
They look at me funny.
There we went.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Unfortunately, yeah, I can see that.
Thank you, Dennis.
Hey guys, it was a pleasure. Good luck with your podcast. I know it's going to be a big hit. And,
Why don't you toss over your phone? We'll subscribe and like for. Oh, you already do.
Oh,
subscribe,
he's
I'm
gonna
sure.
see your
I've listened to you guys.
Okay.
Have you?
Yeah,
I'm honored.
5-star review.
I don't know if I reviewed you or not. I think I needed one more time.
Jury's still out. I get it. That's fine.
No, but here's the thing: is I
Dennis,
like both of you guys.
Yes.
I just didn't know if I liked you together.
That's fair. That's
If
fair.
that makes sense.
No, we've heard that from multiple sources.